Let's make an object with geometry nodes and a material and make them all into assets. So I'm in 3.6 here, but it's the same process. So I'm going to make a Suzanne monkey. Here we go. Currently I have no assets. This is my asset window at the bottom. In here. If I go into my outliner and I right click, I can mark as asset, or you can do this from inside your object as well. You can right click on that little icon here on the left hand side and mark as asset. When you've marked something as an asset, you'll see that you have this little library icon, and in my current file view under unassigned we see Suzanne. If you want to do something like setting up your description, you can do that here, and you can also render the active object if you want to get a new thumbnail. Let's add a material as well. So let's go ahead, add a new material. I'm going to call this one red. Set this as a base material like this. Just have that base color. And just the same, we have this data block icon on the left hand side of our viewport here. I can right click and mark as asset, or in the outliner I can find that material and I can right click, mark as asset. So it just depends where you want to do it. Now you can see we have red and Suzanne. One more, let's do a geometry nodes graph. So I'm going to create a new geometry nodes in here. I'm going to add, let's add a transform node and just move this to the side 5 meters. This one I'm going to call my geometry nodes graph, move 5x, because that's what we just did. And just the same, right click on that little data block icon on that left hand side, the node icon, right click, mark as asset. And now you can see we have move 5x here. If we want to put these into categories, I can come up into all and I can either click this plus or I can right click, I think. Can I? Maybe it's just the plus then. So go ahead and click the plus icon up here. I'm going to rename this one to objects. I'm going to have another one which I rename to materials, and another one that I'm going to rename geometry nodes. There we go, hopefully you can see that. In my unassigned section, we can always increase our size somewhere. There's this bit here. I can increase it up to large, so that's just a little bit easier for us to work with. So I can just simply drag these. So move 5x, that was geometry nodes. I'm going to put that in there. My materials, that was the red. And Suzanne, she was an object, so that can go in there. And now you can see that we have all of these individually, or I can click all to get them together. When you see an asterisk next to your category name, this just means that your category is unsaved. So I can go ahead and save this into my, wherever you want to save this. And as soon as you see those asterisks have gone, so you're no longer, you no longer have unsaved changes. If you want to set a custom library, you can simply come into your file paths in the Blender preferences. So file paths on the left, asset libraries down here. We can come into user library and you can set a specific file path where you want to save things. And this basically becomes your user library here. So you would then get every file that had assets that was stored in that location would appear in this section.